Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Fat Corner webinar series. So this webinar for today is part of the webinar series on literature searching. I'm Gideon Guniye. I'm the project lead of Fat Corner project. I've been in academics for about 11 years, teaching and doing computing science research. In each of the sessions of this webinar series, I focus on different aspects of literature searching. You can access the videos for the previous session and subsequent sessions on Fat Corner Facebook page and YouTube channel, depending on which of the platforms is most convenient for you to use. So if you have not subscribed to our Facebook page and YouTube channel, make sure you do so to have access to all the educational materials we have for you. With time, it might be difficult for you to locate our contents on Facebook, as our Facebook page is very busy, and that is why I would recommend that you also subscribe to our YouTube channel. During today's session, feel free to drop your questions in the comment section for me. To drop questions for me, I'll get back to you after the session. In the last session, we looked at the different types of literature review. We also discussed what goes into a literature search strategy, which involves defining your search topic, highlighting your key concepts in your topic, identifying your search keywords, applying search techniques such as phrase searching and Boolean searching. And we also discussed how to define your search, how to define your search. Finally, we demonstrated how to do this search strategy on Google Scholar. This session today covers types of sources that you might need to be looking for, where to actually then search for the sources. This involves selecting appropriate academic databases and search tools. And then we will be looking at referencing styles, and referencing tools. For this session, I will focus on one of the referencing tools called EndNote. I will show you how to use EndNote. There are a couple of other referencing tools that you might want to look at, such as RefWorks, RefMan, BibTeX. Personally, I use BibTeX and EndNote. BibTeX is more sophisticated than EndNote as it requires the knowledge of LaTeX. Before selecting appropriate databases or search tools, it can be useful to think about what type of sources you actually need to be looking for and you actually need to use for your particular topic. Now, majority of academic scholars, including undergraduate and postgraduate students, research staff, tutors, lecturers, need to use secondary sources. This includes stuff like books, journals, conference proceedings, book reviews, generally sort of academic or scholar literature, but not necessarily always. But sometimes you might need to look at primary sources as well. So that can be stuff like newspaper, magazines, statistical data, manuscripts, text, images, objects. So you have to think about what your topic is, what your subject area is, and what you might actually need to be able to do your research, what kind of sources and what kind of materials that you need to be looking for. Personally, I use secondary sources most of the times for my literature searching. Sometimes I use primary sources if, for instance, I need newspaper articles on a topic, or if I need statistical data that has not been published in any peer-reviewed journal. When you are searching for secondary sources, it's generally academic databases you use. These are also known as abstracting and indexing databases or bibliography databases. Find out the ones in your subject area that your university library have subscribed to. That means you must know the ones that are relevant to your subject area. You can also subscribe to some on your own if you don't have access to any university library, or if your library has not subscribed to the particular one that is relevant to your subject area. These databases allow you to search for millions of articles, book reviews, and so on and so forth. The databases have quite sophisticated functionality and allow you to go from basic searching to quite advanced and complex searching. While there is crossover between the databases in their coverage, no two databases have exactly the same content. So you need to do search. So you need to search several databases on your topic to ensure you don't miss a key paper. I put on the screen there a representative list of top academic databases and search tools that I know and that most of the ones I use and their website address. There are many more of them in your subject area that you need to find out. Some of them are free, while some requires you to pay a certain amount of money for subscription. You need to check whether your university library has a subscription for whatever one you find useful before you decide to pay for the subscription. I put Google Scholar on the list because it is a quite effective search tool. Google Scholar is a freely accessible web search engine that indexes full text or metadata of scholarly literature across an array of publishing formats and disciplines. It provides a simple way to broadly search for scholarly literature. Google Scholar is a place to start searching materials. It's a place I normally use to start searching materials before moving to specific databases. If you are looking for primary sources, there is quite a wide range of materials that can sort of count as primary sources, like relevant newspapers, TV news, online news, and so on and so forth. So we go to referencing proper. The first question is, why do we reference and how? And the answer is a requirement and a necessity to reference whenever you relate your work to the existing body of research on your topic. So it's a collective academic tradition. Academics relate their own work to the existing body of research and scholarship in their field. Another question is, what are the referencing system or style that you must use in your writing? A referencing style or a referencing system means the format you must put your reference. And for this, you need to find out the referencing system recommended or approved for your program of study or the conference or journal that you're submitting your writing to. Some examples of referencing style include Harvard system, which I'm going to show you an example in the course of this webinar. And we have APA, we have MLA, we have Chicago, we have Vancouver, we have Oxford, we have AMS, and so on and so forth. As I mentioned earlier, there are different types of academic sources for your literature search, and each of these typically has to be referenced in a slightly different fashion depending on the referencing system you are using. So what is referencing? Referencing is the process of acknowledging other people's work when you have used it in your assignments or research. It provides the link between what you write and the evidence on which it is based, according to Pierce and Sheet, 2016, page 1. And you must reference every source you use in your writing, such as blogs, music, data, films, presentation, books, images, and so on and so forth. So what you have on the screen here is what referencing look like. So what you have here is a text I copied verbatim from a source. That is why you see that I put it in quotation mark. And it's not compulsory I put it in quotation mark. If I have paraphrased the text, then I just need to write it here, and then I need to put reference. So what you have here is what we call in-text citation, which can be name and year, the name of the author, the year of publication, and the page number. And for some referencing system or referencing style, it might be number, and it's pointing to a footnote or an endnote or a bibliography or a full reference that you have put in the bottom part of your writing. So what you do is that if you've copied the text verbatim, you put it in quotes, and you put it citation based on the referencing style you are using, and you put the full reference at the end of your work, and this full reference allows the reader to trace your sources. So this system that I have here is an Harvard system where you have the surname of the author, the year of publication, and the page where I get this text from. Now, let's move to referencing manager, or what we also call referencing tool. And the one I will demonstrate in this webinar is EndNote. But the first question I want to ask is, why do we use a reference tool, a referencing tool? Number one, it saves you a lot of time, because if you start typing the referencing manually, you waste a lot of time if you have to type so many references. And it reduces instances of human errors in your reference list. If you are typing manually, you are bound to make a lot of errors. It helps you to organize and track all your resources during the writing process, guide against unintentional plagiarism, and it makes it easier for you to share and collaborate with other people that are your co-authors. And the EndNote that I'm going to teach you today is a reference management software that not only frees you from the tedious work of manually collecting and curating your research materials and formatting bibliographies, but also gives you greater ease and control in coordinating with your co-authors. So on how to use EndNote, I'm going to teach you how to create an EndNote online account, how to collect references from academic databases and Google Scholar. That is, if you don't want to type it into EndNote manually, you can collect references from academic databases and Google Scholar. How to organize your references, how to have attachment in terms of PDF or MS Word, how to attach them to your reference source, how to group your reference. Sometimes it's good to group related references together. So if I'm writing a book on a particular topic, and if I'm writing a journal paper that is completely different from what I'm discussing in the book, and I'm also probably writing another conference paper. So if I want to group the references for each of these projects, if I want to group references separately, so EndNote allows me to group reference, and it also allows me to share the group with other people that I'm collaborating with, and it also gives me the techniques for formatting my referencing and to export my bibliography to another document, to configure my citing while I'm writing, to cite references in Word in MS Microsoft Word to edit my citation, lead citation, and also looking at some further information and support, EndNote online resources, wiki page, styles, assemble a long document, and so on and so forth. So let's start from the first one, which is creating an EndNote online account. And to register for your free EndNote online account, you need to go through this link. So I'm trying to, from now, I'll be switching between my slide and EndNote and EndNote online account. So let me try to load EndNote. So this is the EndNote online platform. And if you are a new user, you need to register here by clicking on this button and put your email address here. You put your password, you enter your password, put your first name and your last name, and you click on register. And they will send an activation email to your email, an activation link to your email. So you need to go log into your email, click on the activation link to activate your account. But because I already have an account with EndNote, I'm just going to sign in and with my email address, and I'm going to put my password here. And then I'm going to log into my account. So I've got a couple of references in this account. So I'm going to start from here, from collect. So if I want to type my reference information directly in EndNote, I need to click on collect, and then I need to click on new reference. Typing references into EndNote online is the simplest way of adding references, but it's also the most time consuming because you have to fill all these feeds one by one. This method of collecting reference is most useful if you only want to add a few references. So if I have a writing that is, I'm not adding more than 3 references, then I can decide to type in the information here. And it's also useful if the references you want to add are not available in an online database, or if finding them in an online database will take longer than typing them, then you need to type them. So what you do is that you use the reference type and the reference type that you want to use. Let me say an article, and then you put the name of the author here, the last name, comma, and the first name of the author. And if you have more than one author, then each of the author will be on a line. So let's assume that we have another author, and so if there are 3, then I continue to type the authors. And then I type the title of the journal, the year of publication, the journal name, the volume, the part, the issue, the pages, the start date, and so on and so forth. But it is not, you do not have to fill in all the fields, but at least type in the details needed to cite the reference accurately and completely. But you don't need to fill all the fields, but just make sure you put the ones that they allow you, that contains all the information you need to cite the paper accurately and completely. There's some other fields here, optional fields there that you need to put. So like I said, this method of adding reference to EndNote is good if you have few references to type, if it takes more time to look for the reference online, and so on and so forth. But it's not the best method. It's time consuming. So when you finish type in all this information, then you click on save. So it will save the reference, the reference is saved, and then you can come to my references, and it will give you the list of all the references that you have. But you see that I have not grouped them. I've not had them to any group. So this is just the list of all the references I have in this online account. So all these sources, I have them in my Evernote online account. Like I said, it is not the best method. It is the best method would be to import your reference from an academic database or Google Scholar. But for this webinar, I will focus only on Google Scholar, and maybe some other time we'll look at how to import from some specific academic databases. So to import from this, you just need to click that. But you need to go to Google Scholar first. And to go to Google Scholar, you need to so let me go to Google Scholar, scholar.com. And when you go to Google Scholar, so when you go to Google Scholar, you type the topic that you want, but before you do that, click on these 3 lines and go to setting, and from the setting, go to the bibliography manager, click on show link to import citation, and you can choose any of the referencing tool you are using here. I normally use BibTeX, but in this lecture, I'm teaching you EndNote, and you can also use RefMan or RefWorks, but we are using EndNote. So I'm going to show links to import citation into EndNote, and then I'm going to click Save. So it takes me to Google Scholar homepage, and then I can type whatever I want to type there. Let me try phrase searching, abstract argumentation, and then I can search. So when I search, I get it, and you just come here. So let's assume that I want to add one of these material to my references, library on EndNote. So let me choose any of them. So I want to add a probabilistics semantics for abstract argumentation. I'll just click on import to EndNote, and it will download that file. So when you download the file, then I'll go back to my EndNote account, and then I click on collect import references, and then I just need to go and choose the file. The file will normally be in my download, and it's normally going to be saved as scholar.enw. So I'm going to choose this and then click open, and then I'll come to import option and click EndNote import, and then I'll come to go, because I've not created groups, so I'm just going to put it in on file, and then I'll click import. So it will import the reference for me, and if I click on my references, you would see that reference that I just downloaded has been added. So this is the reference. Tim Matthias, probabilistic semantics for argumentation. And this is the conference name. This is the year of publication. So some basic information about that reference. And then what do I need to do? So there are some cases that you need to add the material itself, the reference. And that is one of the good things about EndNote. EndNote gives you 2 gig space for saving attachments, such as full text PDFs or MS Word or whatever document that you want to add. So let me download this paper that I've added to the EndNote. So let me download the paper and let me save the paper on my computer, and let me just save it in my download folder. And then I come back to EndNote, and I want to add this file to my reference. So I just need to click on, okay, let me go back. So you look at view file attachment, you would see this icon, then you click on it, and then you click on attach file. So it will give you this. You can add at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can add 5 files, this maximum of 5 files to this reference. So I want to add the one that I just downloaded, and then I go to download, and then I have it here, and then I click open, and then I click upload, and you have to wait for it to show complete upload, and then you close it, and then you close this dialog box as well. You will see that this has changed to blue. It shows that there is now an attachment to this reference, but this one doesn't have any, this one doesn't have any, this one has, this one has, and this one doesn't have. So that is how to do it. And you can manage the attachments that you have, for the attachment that you have in your reference library. So what you need to do is to go to the Organize tab and click on Manage Attachment, and you would see it's only 3 attachments I have downloaded to my reference library, and I can do anything I want to do. If I don't need any of this attachment again, I just click on it, and then I can delete it from the list. So I'll click on this one, and then I can delete it, and then I delete it. So that's done. I can sort them from largest to different sorting criteria here. I can sort them according to file size and attachment name, maybe A to Z or Z to, so I can sort them, use any of this sorting. And this is important. This sorting is important. If I have, like, say, I have a lot of reference library that has up to like 200 entries, and if I need to search for reference that I've just added in maybe this year, so I can come here and search and say I want the newest. I want to search from newest to oldest. So all the new ones will come up, and there are so many things that you can do. You can come here and show the number that you want per page, which you can want 10 entries per page, or 25 or 50, whatsoever you want. You see, I'm giving a 2 gig, and I've only used 571 kilobytes out of my 2 gig. So that's how to manage the attachments that you have added to your reference library. And so I guess, let me go back to my slide. So that is how to create an account. And once you create the account, you go to Collect tab. You can add new references by typing them into EndNote, or by importing them from either Google Scholar or from academic databases. We look at how to do it from academic databases some other time. And like I said, you need to fill these fields. But I said this method is not the best. If you have a lot of references to add, it's good to import them from Google Scholar or from academic databases. And then when you import, you save, you go to all my references, you see all the references you've added, and I've shown you how to do it on Google Scholar. And yeah, I've shown you how to do it on Google Scholar, and how to organize your attachment. You can add an attachment, how to add the attachment I've shown you. And I've also shown you how to open an attachment. Okay, I've not shown you how to open an attachment. So you can open, so let me come back to my EndNote. So let me come back to my EndNote. If I want to open an attachment, I'll come to my references. What's happening? So I'll come to my, okay, yeah, it's open now. So I'll come to my references and then I can open any one. So I can open this paper and then it opens for me. So that's how to do it. And then let me go back to my slide now. So today we've looked at different types of sources, primary and secondary sources. We've looked at referencing and referencing styles, and why we need to do referencing and how. We've looked at referencing system, and we look at these three aspects of EndNote, creating an EndNote online account, how to collect references from Google Scholar, and how to organize your attachment. And in the next session, we'll do more on referencing and referencing tools. So we've covered this and we've covered this. So we'll look at how to collect references from other academic databases apart from Google Scholar. And then we'll also, under organize, we'll look at how to group your references and how to share with other co-authors. And we also look at how to format, how to export a bibliography into your writing, how to configure your citation while you are writing, how to cite references in Word, how to edit citation, how to edit citation. And we'll look at some further information and support, EndNote online resources, wiki page, styles, how to assemble a long document. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any question, don't hesitate to get in touch with me. You can reach me through fatcornell.org@gmail.com. Thank you very much.